Welcome back to my podcast. Welcome back to my podcast. All right, seriously, guys. Welcome back to my podcast, reviewed by Top Shelf Tammie. All righty, we're going to jump right in. So, last week we reviewed That East Side Love by Lucinda John. We did Still in the Pastor's Daughter by Edwina Fort. And then we did The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Soldier. Last week's style of the podcast was like more book reportish, right? We went through the questions, we read the passages that the author kind of gives to give you an idea of the book, and then I read some takeouts that I thought that you guys would probably enjoy, that you guys would probably like, just to give you an idea of what the book is, right? So this week is going to be like a part two. So we are going to, this will be called like the book club style episode. So each book or each series of books that I review, it will have like a part one and part two. So part one, like I said last week, we did the book report style. Then part two would be the book club style. So we got some questions we're gonna discuss about the books that you read, and then we're gonna wrap it all up, and then we are going to be done with these three books. Okay, cool. All right, so we are going to start with, we did the East Side Love first, so we are going to start there, right? um should I have my book open? Okay, so like I told you guys last week that the book started out very much engaging, very much drama, right? Because we had Diamond's mom and dad. The dad was a crackhead, and then the mom was, I would like to say that she was boy crazy, right? Even as a grown woman, I feel like grown women, you could still be boy crazy because she was so busy, like, running behind him. She didn't really care for her daughters in the manner that they needed to be cared for. And then when the situation happened with the dad, look what her reaction was, right? I'm still kind of speaking in code because I don't want some of y'all to cheat and watch this episode and then don't read the book. So we're just gonna kind of speak in code or whatever. But yeah, I would characterize her as boy crazy. And like I said, I do feel like grown women can still be boy crazy. I feel like she is the perfect example of a grown woman who's still boy crazy to me. Point blank period. So yeah, that was the opening of the book, and like I said, it was very much engaging. Let's see here. Do we think Diamond should have expressed her feelings earlier to Bobby? I want to say yes. Yes. I'm always like a very stickler about like get the information on the table, right? And then see where we go from there. I think people hide their feelings, hide their motives. They hide so many things, and then it makes the plot and it makes just like go haywire. So I definitely could have seen the book going a different way if she would have expressed her feelings maybe before like Bobby got in a relationship. Maybe her and Bobby would have gotten into a relationship, and then maybe the book could have still went a different way, right? Okay, cool. Do we think Diamond should have told to get out of jail or to not go to jail? I don't think it was in her character. I don't think it was in her character to tell. I feel like she was a very stand on business type of person. So I couldn't see her telling, but I do know the majority of women and the majority of us probably would have been like, give me the piece of paper. I'm gonna tell you who drugs it is. I'm gonna tell you everything. But yeah, I just don't think it was in her character to tell. I think it made her really look like the strong individual that she is, because she was a very strong individual. She took care of her responsibility with her sister once her parents did what they did. So I think it was just in her nature not to tell. And like I said, she was kind of like a stand on business type of person, and kind of like she just, what is that? What am I looking for? She accepted the consequences of her actions. That's what it is. That's the type of person she was. So she ain't act shocked because she knew what she was doing, breaking the law to begin with. Do we think Bobby was a real friend? Like, okay, so I want to say Bobby was, he was a real friend, right? Because he was there in her time of need when she didn't have no place to go. He definitely, stepped up there when she needed money. He allowed her to hustle. So I feel like, yes, he was a real friend, but then I also feel like your friends want what's best for you. So him playing the back and forth game, it kind of made me be like, no, he wasn't um a real friend. He was just an ain't shit nigga at that point. You know what I'm saying? So, that one, yeah. Do we feel like Bobby played Diamond? I want to say yes, kind of in the beginning. I definitely feel like in the beginning he did, but once I feel like they had sex, she kind of had him. So yeah, yeah, okay. My favorite question of them all. Get it to the end. Do we think Diamond was a hoe, or was she just hoish, right? Because y'all know what happened. It was Zoe and it was Bobby, right? Um, like, we don't want to call her a hoe, right? Because she was a virgin and she had only been with them two. But the way she started flip flopping between the two, and we get a little bit of it in book one, but it goes a little bit into book two as well. Um, yeah, it's kind of hard for me. Like, I don't want to. So we wouldn't say she was a hoe. We ain't gonna say that, but she was definitely hoish. She was definitely hoish. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't judging nobody. Things happen. You can love two people. You know what? That's what it is. I want to say maybe because she had such deep feelings for both guys, it was kind of confusing. So that's why she was kind of like flip flopping and like going back and forth or whatever like that. I do feel like um, if the situation was different and maybe it was a guy that she didn't have feelings for, she probably wouldn't have been as easy to give up the sex and then going back and forth. So we're going to just say she was hoish. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Do we think Zoe was wrong for telling Diamond she couldn't hustle or kicking her off the block, right? I think he was not wrong for that. But then I don't know, because listen, we live in today's world where us women, like, we can do anything a man can do, right? So it's like you can't restrict us to how we get money, because you know what, it is dangerous. But I do want to say, with Diamond's track record of, like I just said, of her standing on business and just kind of accepting the consequences of her action, I do feel like she can hold her own. So he was kind of wrong for kicking her off the block. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna roll with that. So yeah, I feel like he was wrong. And then it wasn't his place. It was like not his organization. Zoe was kind of like a bully. He was a bully. He was a bully in book one. So because it was like, it was not his organization, really not his place to do that. So yeah, I'm rolling with he was wrong for that, you know. Okay. Did you see the ending coming? I did not. Like I told y'all, I read this book every couple of years and I'm still surprised about like some of the details. So I know the first time that I read this book, I did not see the ending coming. We would not spoil the ending. Like I said, I want to just give you just a good enough taste, bring you there, and then just, you know, kind of leave you whatever like that. So no, I didn't see the ending coming. It definitely is a good ending to segue into book two and book three. So of course, like I said, that Eastside Love by Lucinda John, the review, we recommend you. Right? Always, okay. Cool. All right. So book two and book three is out. Like I said before, this is a completed series. The only difference with the book two and book three, we will get points of view from the other characters. So you will see Sky and Star. You're going to get Chopper. In book three, you're going to get Beamer and Cray. You're going to get Pete. And they're going to pull the story together. I feel like at the end of the series, I feel like all questions were answered. Like you're not left thinking, well, what was the point of this? What was the point of that? It's like everything is gonna make sense, right? Because we think the police officer kind of look out for her a lot in book one, and then you kind of think like, why, right? So like I said, all questions will be answered in book two and book three. It was a great ending, great ending, but we not gonna give it away. Okay. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the second book that we did, Stealing the Pastor's Daughter by Edwina Ford. This was the book that I classified as like urban romance, sci-fi, fantasy type of, like a type of genre, right? Because it wasn't just straight urban romance. So, but it was still a really good book, and I know sometimes why I ventured off into these type of books was because I kind of got bored with just the urban romance. So I was looking for different plots and different things just to kind of keep my attention. So this Arthur was one of the ones. We're going to read like more books in her collection because she do have a couple of stories that I did definitely enjoyed. So yeah, we're going to circle around back to her again. All right, so Stealing the Pastor's Daughter. Okay, guys, what did we think? So one of the questions I always ask myself was, did I feel Mackenzie was too naive? Right? She had a phone, so I want to say it was ways for her to learn things. Like she was just way too naive, way too sheltered, way too just immature. Like I think her shelteredness and it all kind of boiled down to her being immature. Even though I won't say that her being too naive or innocent or whatever the case, I don't. No. Yes. Okay. I was about to say I don't think it affected the plot and the storyline, but it absolutely did. But it didn't affect it until it did affect it, right? So, like I said, we're not gonna give it all away for the people that's cheating. So it wasn't too late until it was too late. So we're gonna leave that question right there. Was her friend too fast? Absolutely. Like I said, it wasn't too late till it was too late in that situation. Her friend was 16 and they were church girls. So forgive me, I don't want to offend nobody. But you all guys, I think we have all heard it before, like church girls is the fast ones or the church kids are the freaky ones, you know what I'm saying? So she was a church kid, she was 16 and she was hanging and doing what she was doing. So yeah, she was a little fast, as the old folks would like to say. She was a little fast. Another question that I always kind of like struggle with this book was, did I think Gator was too old for Mackenzie. Yes, 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 yes. It drives me crazy because she was 18. We read the book. It was her 18th birthday, and I want to say I believe the book said that he was 28. So it was 10 years, but everybody's legal, right? Everybody's legal, right? But as I feel like as you grow up and mature, it's two sides to that. So as you grow up and mature, you really do realize like men are still very immature at 28. So you can kind of say, no, he wasn't too old for her. But by her being so naive and so innocent and never experiencing the world, and then by him being kind of so successful, so thinking things through in a way and where he was in life, I do feel like he was a little too old for her. But at the end of the day, everybody was legal, so I guess. Another question I have always kind of thought about: what do you think Gator Mom's secret was? Right? I am not gonna give it away. I did I did kind of think it was something along the lines of what it was. I didn't know it was to that extreme of what it is, right? So not gonna give it all away. So I definitely did. I did, but I didn't. So yeah. Um, do we think Gator's mom is as innocent as he makes her out to be? Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I can see it. Everybody in the family say she was innocent. I feel like, so yeah. Moms be innocent. Some moms be innocent. She didn't seem like she was, like a bad mom or like she was holding secrets. But when she did always stop him from not causing harm to the people that he wanted to harm, that kind of made me think that she didn't want, I guess, retaliation, or she didn't want something to come out. So that almost kind of made me think like, if she don't want to do nothing to them, that's because she don't want them to retaliate against her, like spill the beans or spill her secrets or whatever the case may be. So that almost had me thinking like maybe she wasn't as innocent as she was putting on. But like I said, I kind of roll with she's an innocent person. She's the innocent one in a book, in a family. So yeah, she was innocent. Do we think Gator is dirty macking? Right? Okay, so if you don't know what dirty macking is, dirty macking is when one guy kind of like downplay another guy to make himself look better. A little bit. I did feel like Gator was kind of dirty macking a little bit, but his feelings for Mackenzie was genuine. So it's just like he dirty macked a little, but it also in the book it always say like Gator is very, he's not very talkative, so he ain't do too much dirty macking, but like some of his actions kind of showed up Sebastian or whatever like that. So it was kind of like a little underhanded, like dirty macking or whatever like that. It was subtle, like subtle dirty macking, but a little bit. Like he stepped on a man's toes, right? um, what did you think of Gator's powers? Did his name give it away? Did you think that is what it was going to be? I did not. Like I said last week when we were first introducing this book, it's a fresh storyline. So no, I absolutely did not think Gator's ability and power was going to be what they were. But I liked it. So yeah, I liked it. Uh, did you see the ending coming? A little bit. Just a tip. Just a teeny bit. Just a teeny bit. Like I said, like you can predict something bad was going to happen just because of the way the book started. you know, just the way the book started, it's like when you have somebody that's really sheltered, that mean their parents is on them, right? So, baby girl, you staying out all night, and then it got back around town that you with number one's most wanted criminal. Absolutely. So it's like you knew something bad was gonna happen, but you just didn't know that, right? But if you kind of follow the context clues and then like in hindsight, you'd be like, okay, I can see that. So again, Still in the Pastor's Daughter, Edwina Ford, the review, we recommend you. So yeah, alrighty. So just wrapping that up a little bit. Like I said before, it is a part two of this book. It is an unfinished series. So again, if you do not want to start this book because it is an unfinished series, then don't. But if you do, then like just make a little list. I think we're gonna make a list of books of maybe some books that I reviewed because I thought they were really interested and good and I wanted to share them, but they might not be finished series. So we might, just start a little list. Book two is very more, she slowed this, no, well, I wouldn't say slowed it down because actually more time passed in book two. So I think we speed it up a little bit. So the ending happened in part one and then it picks back up. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but it does pick back up seamlessly, perfectly. So it picks back up. Gator and Mackenzie still will be the only two characters in Still in the Pastor's Daughter that speaks and have a part. She do give more detail into Gator's powers and his background, and it does all connect the dots and make things make sense. So like I said, it's a good book. All right. Last but not least, the coldest winter ever. Okay. All right. So let's start with our book club questions. Winters. No. I don't want to start with that one. I always think when I read this book, in hindsight, like my first book club question would be like, do we think it was a smart idea for the dad to move the family away from the projects, right? But then was it a smart idea for them to be living in the projects with his status to begin with? So I always kind of feud with those two questions or whatever, because once he moved the family out the projects, I don't think that's when he got on the Fed's radar, but that's probably what made some people feel a little some type of way, so they were more inclined to tell, right? Because we know how the street stuff go. When people feel like they being done wrong and you eating, they not, things go crazy, right? So I always like, was it a smart decision to move the family away? Because now it's like you're showing people like, hey, I got something that you don't got. So yeah, I don't, so torn on that one, right? Because then on the flip side, we know what happened to the mom. So you know that it was dangerous in the streets for them. So you can't still be living in the projects with that type of situation going on. So it was like a kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. I want to say, was the parents good parents? Right? The mom, no. She was not a good parent. The things that she told Winter and the things that she taught her about life was just like a person with a box of rocks for brains, right? But it was almost like you can't blame her because like I said last week when we kind of like was expressing the like lessons learned and the point that Arthur was trying to make from the book, I think I kind of said it was like a lost generation or something along those lines, right? But the mom was 14 when she had Winter. Winter is currently 16 in the book, so that makes the mom 30. And then if you think about it, you got to think about if she went into labor at 14, that means she was pregnant probably at 13. So she was already having this type of grown relationship, 13, 14 years old. And then that means, like, where was her mom, right? So like I said, it's like generational curses. And that's what it was. Winter's grandmother, where was she when her daughter was getting pregnant at 13 and delivering at 14? And then Winter's mom is 30 and she's 16. She's so, oh, I care about my looks. I care about fashion. I care about all of the wrong things. And honestly, she was boy crazy as well. She was very boy crazy. It was about her husband. But she was boy crazy. Like I said, a grown woman can be boy crazy, and it's just for one man. That's fine. She's married, but she was boy crazy because all of her thoughts and her theories and her sayings in life, it was all very male centered. You know what I'm saying? And it was all, and when situations arose, oh, what would he do? We had to wait on him. She was a little boy crazy, right? Okay. The other parent, because we just said was the parent's good parent. I thought that, asking myself this question, I thought that maybe Santiago was a good parent, but then as I really, like, in hindsight and reread and really just dissecting the book, he was not a good parent either. He was not a good parent either. It was so many instances where it was like Winter was unsupervised. She was just doing whatever she wanted to do. And then all of the talk about her, like, not going to school, and then her just having those ideas that her mom put in her head, just Bible for her. It's just like, where was his parents and where was his talks? It was like somewhere along the lines, he was not a good parent either. And then absolutely, it was like, if you are in the streets, your kids shouldn't have been seeing this. It was a ways, I feel like he could have sheltered her a little bit more away from it. But like he failed her. Like, because it's like he's taught her some things and showed her some things, but then he didn't teach her other things. And that's where it came back to bite her in the butt in the end. So yeah, Santiago was not a good parent to me. No. And then he turned out not to be a good husband either. Did Midnight really like Winter? Without reading the other books, that's how I'm gonna keep it, because I kind of heard some reviews from the other books, but I have not read the other books yet. But for this book alone, did Midnight like Winter? I don't know. I feel like the mom always kind of coddled Winter feelings about Midnight. Oh yeah, he like you. You so pretty. You so fashionable. So yeah, it was like the mom told her yes, but he gave her no play. But at the same time, he's a grown man and he has principles. So it could have been just like he felt like she was too young, so he didn't play into it. So I don't know. I don't think he liked her romantically, but I do feel like he cared about her. Now, why I threw in the statement about the other books is because I kind of heard through the grapevine they supposed to hook up, but I don't know. So sticking to this one, I don't know. I honestly really don't know. Winter being very self-absorbed, self-centered. She was just very out for self, and those decisions cost her. Like, she burned bridges that if she would have just made other decisions, they wouldn't have been burned. Like, one of the notes that I made was like, she was so smart, she was dumb. That's what everything boiled down to, because we got a 16-year-old running off half-cocked, making these dumb decisions, these dumb plans. And like I just said, her daddy taught her some things, but he didn't teach her everything. So everything that happened in the book and when situations arose, you just like, oh my God, she is about to F this up, right? Because she thinks she know it all, but she don't know nothing. And it's like, the guy was trying to tell her, girl, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. So on top of her being like self-absorbed and self-centered, she didn't know nothing. You know, she just thought she was pulling the wool and over everybody's eyes, and she thought that she was just getting away with everything. And and it's funny because as we're adults, you look back and you be like, was I that dumb at 16? And the question is, yeah, like you're running around, you think you lying to people, you think you fooling them, and it's like they can live life and they have really been there and done that. That's what back in my days with the older people used to tell us. I done been there and done that, and that's the truth. So it's just like every little scheme, a little ploy that she tried to like pull off, it wasn't successful because it's like, baby girl, people have been there and done that. So Winter was just, like I said, she was just a product of generational curses, bad parenting, just a failed youth. And like I said, that was the point that Sister Soldier was trying to make with writing this book, was just that the youth was lost. Yeah. Even though I did say all those bad things about Winter's mom, did we expect for her to be a little bit more stronger faced with the life challenges that she was faced with? I did. I feel like, you know what? Let me take that back. I did expect her to be a little bit of a stronger woman. And I think she honestly could have been a stronger woman if she wouldn't have had the accident. When she got her beauty taken away, I think that kind of affected her to the point where it made her not be strong in other situations. And as bad as this gonna sound, but if she was still pretty, I feel like she could have, in her little dumb mind, she probably would have went on a hunt to find another man with some money, and she probably would have been stronger faced with the challenges of Santiago challenges. Maybe she would have left him, but I do feel like she would have probably been stronger for the kids, maybe. So in one way, I did kind of expect her to be a little bit stronger because it's like, one, you the wife of a kingpin, so you're not supposed to fold so easily under pressure. But because like her most precious virtue to her, which was her beauty, was taken, I think it weakened her. So in a sense, like she couldn't be that strong woman, maybe, you know. Okay. What was Sister Soldier aim for not calling Winter out on who she was? Did we know, or did we think that Sister Soldier knew all along who Winter was before it was actually revealed? I think she did know, because it was like little hints in that she would drop about like watching people and paying attention to them and not just going for what they tell you. So I do feel like she knew. And also Midnight told her when he left, like, Sister Soldier can help you. So with Sister Soldier being as smart as she is, she's going to cross her T's and dot her I's. She's not going to just let a stranger in her house. So she did her research probably when Midnight put her on game, like, hey, it's a girl that I know from a family that I work with. She might come. So I do think Sister Soldier was knowledgeable of Winter's identity. But like I said, Winter was so dumb, so smart. She thought she was so smart that she was dumb, because Sister Soldier was like low-key telling her, Like I know everything, and not in a kind of like a pompous ass type of way, but it was just like I know things. You know what I'm saying? Like I do my homework, I do my research. So, but Winter wasn't kind of picking up what was being laid down for her. Um, so yeah, and I do like that. Sister Soldier said a lot of good things. Um, did you see the ending coming? Absolutely, right? So just like I said, the ending to all of the books, it's like you kind of know something bad was gonna happen. You didn't know exactly what it was because it was like Winter made so many dumbass mistakes. She just miscalculated so much that any of the situations that she was in could have led to where the ending was, right? So you just never knew when it was gonna happen, but you kind of knew. You knew it was gonna happen, right? Um, oh, so if you read the book, and then you know this part, and this was the kind of the passage that I end up reading. What I told you guys last week before was this was the one thing and is detailed in this book that always stood out to me for the last 20 years is when she went to that party and she won that little beauty contest and she thought that she was sleeping with the rapper dude, and then it was later revealed that it was the security guard. Let me tell y'all how that has shaped some of my existence in the world. From, like I told you, I was a preteen, probably early teens when I read this, to like a grown woman in her 30s now. Baby, turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. So many lessons in that. Turn the lights on. You need to see what's going on, right? Also, it's just like, don't be so easy to just jump into bed with anybody. You know? So that has always stuck out to me. Always stuck out to me. That was just like one of those things in the book that I was just like jaw drop on the floor. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, this, you guys see that I have it. It is the Life After Death Sister Soldier book. It is supposed to be the book after Winter, whatever happened in the coldest winter ever, because like I said, I don't want to give it all away. So I've heard mixed reviews on it, but because I love the coldest winter ever and it's always been on my mind for ever since I've been a reader, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. It is a novel. Both of her books are novels, and novels are like bigger than like regular just read books. So it's gonna take me a while to read this one. I do know that I'm wrapping up the series with that Eastside Love and Still in the Pastor's Daughter. Like those books, we're done. We're done with those. So even if I do this one, I don't know if we're gonna like circle back and review it or whatever. Because like I said, The Coldest Winter Ever was the only story for the last 20 years. This only kind of got added on when the book kind of got re-popular, like within like the last 10 years, and people were talking about making it a movie, and Hollywood actors were talking about, well, you know what, no, they were re-talking about it because when the book first came out, it was a thing. Everybody was talking about it. But I guess like when a new generation of youth came and they were readers, the book was re-popularized, and so I feel like it kind of made the author say, oh, you know, since you guys want some more, I'm gonna give you some more. So she came out with this book. When I went on to Kindle to get this one, I think the reviews, some of the reviews for this one was not the greatest. But like I said, since I like The Coldest Winter Ever, and it was good enough for me to be reviewing it right now in 2025, I will give The Life After Death one a chance. And eventually, like, we'll circle back to it, and I'll let you guys know, like, if you should read it, yay or nay, or whatever like that. All right. Cool. Alrighty, so next week we will be back with 3 new titles. I'm excited. Yes, we will be reviewing 3 new authors, 3 new titles. I'm going to try to do 3 titles and 3 books that's not by any of the authors that we have already reviewed, because just so we can mix it around and move around and just make sure that we are giving everything like a fair chance. Oh, I'm sorry. The Coldest Winter Ever and Sister Soldier, the review recommends you. Sorry about that, guys. So like I said, we'll be back with 3 new titles, 3 new authors. It's a billion books in the world, so I'm not going to try to just stick to one genre or one author or whatever like that, or so we're going to just move it around. All right, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Yes, again, if you guys want to email me questions or comments or reviews or anything that you thought about the books, absolutely email me. Those are welcome. If you are an author who wants to get their poem or their book reviewed, please email me. All of you guys, in the subject line, just make sure that you are putting what are you emailing about. So if it's a particular book, put the name of the book. If you want something reviewed, put that in the subject line. We're all readers, so we kind of know how to do an email, but yeah. So you can email me at ts_TammiePod@yahoo.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at TopShelf_Tammie. And on TikTok, you can follow me at TopShelfTammie. So this has been reviewed by Top Shelf Tammie.